Hey, it's Ari here. How you doing? Hopefully you're doing well. In today's video, I want to talk about why being resourceful is so important when it comes to building an online business or even an offline business if you're doing that. Now, something that a lot of people tend to struggle with, I'd say especially in the beginning, when they're first getting started, is either finding the time or money to really get started in business. A lot of people, they look at, a mentorship program or some sort, or they see that they got to invest in tools to build their business, and they say, oh well, I don't really have the money to get started. How could I do this with no money? Or they might not, they might be limited on time, and they think, okay, well, if I'm working a full-time 12-hour shift a day, how can I really find time to really build a business? And this is something that, this is probably one of the biggest challenges that you're going to face when it comes to really building a business. And this is, I'd say, why a lot of people, they don't really get started. It's something that holds a lot of people back. And because of this, a lot of people, they don't get to that level in business that they are really aspiring to be. They don't reach that lifestyle of, working wherever and whenever they want to, which is really the main benefit of, building an online business. I mean, it's really all about that time freedom, that money freedom, and that location freedom as well, which is great to really be able to, work wherever and whenever they want to. So when you're first getting started, one of the biggest challenges you're going to be faced with right away, chance, likely is that you're going to have to become a bit resourceful. And that's really the topic that I wanted to discuss here. So a lot of people, they use, the lack of time or money as an excuse to never get started. And this is probably one of the biggest mistakes that someone can make very early on is, not being resourceful enough. Now, don't get me wrong, there's plenty of people out there that are fortunate to have lots of time or money or both, right when they first get started, and, they're able to just, easily, build a business much faster. They're able to spend a lot less time on it. But for most people, unfortunately, the thing that you're after is really, to have more time freedom and money freedom. And in order to really create that for yourself, you got to be willing to become resourceful. A lot of people are just not willing to, find the time or money to really get started. They use that simply as an excuse to never really get started. And like I mentioned, this is something that, it's a really common mistake that a lot of people make, and it's just a reason why they never get started. So how is it that you find the time or money to really get started? Well, when it comes to, finding the time to get started, I mean, if you've got, a full-time job, say like you've got, you know, you work like 12 hours a day or something like that, and, usually when you come home, you just decide, you're just gonna, have dinner or something like that, then you decide to go straight to bed. Something that you could do actually is you could have, you could maybe stay up a bit later, or you can get, up a little earlier in the morning, and you could use that time, say like an hour or two, to, spend on personal development. You could use that to, start learning about how you could start building a business online. You can go through a mentorship program, which is actually what I recommend. And, you could take that time when you're first getting started to really learn about what it takes to build a business online. You could start, taking some action, stuff like, learning how to put sales funnels together, learning how to write emails. And this is something that I highly recommend when you're first getting started. If you have limited time, if you're working like a full-time job, you could use a lot of that time, say right after you get done with work, or maybe, during break, if you got like 30 minutes to an hour of break time, you could use that to, spend on personal development instead of just sitting with friends and, gossiping about other people or other things. You could use that time to, spend on personal development. Like if you got an audiobook, or if you got, some sort of YouTube video that you could watch, that's something that you could spend that time on, during break, is you could spend that time, learning about what successful people are doing in business, the things that they're doing to really push themselves forward. And that's something I highly recommend, And when it comes to, not having enough money, well, if you have, lots of time on your hands, which if you have limited cash, then, it's chances are you have, a lot more free time on your hands. So what I would highly recommend is that you don't just sit around and just wait for, money to just, magically come to you, but you use that time to actually, work a job if you can. See if you could find either a part-time job or even a full-time job, and work that for the time. There's nothing wrong with working a full-time job. A lot of people, they are looking to get into entrepreneurship to get away from that, but when you're first getting started, you need to have money in order to start a business. You cannot start a successful, sustainable business if you have very little to no cash. You got to be willing to put in some capital so that you could really automate a huge part of the process, because without doing this, you're going to end up spending a lot more time on your business, and you're just going to end up feeling confused. So it's very important that you actually you find a way to invest in yourself. And if you could do that, if you could get into some sort of mentorship program or some sort of step-by-step training to really help you move forward in business, that is something that I feel will really eliminate a lot of the time that it will take for most people to have that first major breakthrough. You know what I mean? So you could work a job. If you can't do that, or if you aren't able to work a specific amount of hours for whatever reason, you could sell items. You could do freelancing work, like stuff like Fiverr.com or Upwork is a place you can go to. There's a bunch of things that you could really do when you're first getting started. And a lot of people, they use the lack of money as a reason as to why they can never get started. And that's just something that you definitely want to avoid as much as possible. You never want to use the reason of lack of time or money to really get started, because that's just something that's going to hold you back. I mean, most people, they don't have those resources when they first get started, but it's those that they have that mindset where I'm going to do whatever it takes to find the capital or find the time to really build this business up and really get it to the level that I really want it to. So that's just my message that I want to put out there. If you could adopt that mindset, that is something that I believe will really set you ahead of everyone else, and it will give you a much better chance of actually building a sustainable business online. So hopefully you found this video helpful. If you did, be sure to let me know what you thought in the comments section below. Share this with anyone whom you feel could benefit, and if you'd like to learn more about how you could start building an online business, a sustainable online business, there will be a link in the description below that'll give you access to a free webinar that will be hosted, and it will show you how you could start building a successful online business. It could either be through affiliate marketing, or it could be network marketing, e-commerce, whatever business model you are really going into. This is something that I highly recommend you check out. You give it a watch, and it will give you a clear direction on how you could really get started, building your business properly. So hopefully you enjoyed. Check out that webinar. Hopefully you enjoy that, and take care.